if the code coverage is below 75, you cannot able to code coverage is less than 75 percentage, you can't able to deploy your code to production. Okay, but you can able to deploy between the sandboxes. Okay, you can able to deploy the Apex class or Apex trigger without code coverage sandboxes. Okay, so between the so there are developer sandbox, developer pro, okay, partial pro, and full copy sandbox, and production. There are different types of sandboxes. Okay, developer pro, like partial pro, and full copy sandbox. So these 4 sandboxes you can able to deploy the code without a code coverage. But if you are trying to deploy your code to production, always coverage should have 75 percentage. Okay, always you have 75 percentage of the code coverage. And syntax. Okay, syntax. So the class which is annotated @is test. So the class which is annotated @is test. So that will be treated as a test class of your particular Apex class. Okay. So like @is test. This is one of the annotation is test. Okay. For example, public class. So account creation, test. So always test class name should be end with test, so that it will be identified as a test class of the particular class. Okay, account creation something, there is a class name called account creation. Okay, so then test class would be account creation test, account creation test. It will be like this. Okay, so here so the method name should be like again is test. Okay, is test. So here public static, always it is a static method. Okay, static void. So proper name it creates, account. Okay, అర్థమైందా? సో ఇలా అనమాట టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ అనేది. సో ఆల్వేస్ క్లాస్ నేమ్ annotated with is test, public class name account creation test. So inside this test class you have a method called public static void. It creates an account. Okay, so inside this you need to prepare some test data, something account ACC equals to new account. So you need to create an instance and assign some test data. While inserting the test data, mandatory fields are required. So name equal to something Kavandi. Okay. Then what it will do? Just insert ACC. Okay. So is a test class. So for example, if you have any test class Apex classes, okay, so this will not be the code which is available under is test. That code should not be count in the organization limit. Okay. For example, Apex classes have something 10,000 lines, 10,000 characters are consumed. Okay. For the same class, if you write an Apex test class, so this count will not be comes under your actual limit. Okay. It won't consume the actual limit of your Apex code limit for your organization. Okay. So the class which is annotated is test, that code lines will not be counted against your organization Apex limit. Okay. So every organization have some limit. So that limit will be like this. So if you go to the Salesforce, go to setup, click on the setup, and Apex classes. Click on this Apex classes. So percentage of Apex user, right? So this coverage, so excluded for this test classes. Okay. This percentage of calculation will be included only Apex class. So you are currently using 7,460 characters of Apex code, excluding comments and is test annotated classes. So the Apex character limit, it will consider only triggers or Apex code which you are writing, and the comments as well as the code which is annotated is test, those kind of Apex code will not be included in the Apex character limit. Okay. That is the meaning of your percentage of Apex used. Okay. It will calculate only Apex code. So not the comments and not the code which is annotated is test. Okay. That is the meaning of that. And then one more thing. For example, if you want to, while writing the test classes, we need to make sure, okay, mandatory checks we need to do. And checks for Apex. So this is one thing. Point number one is, if the code is less than 75%, you cannot deploy your code to production. So you can able to deploy the Apex code between the sandboxes, okay, without writing any Apex code. That will not be any problem. And also one more thing. So to cover the private methods, to cover the private methods, we need to use @test visible. To cover the private methods, we need to use @test visible in the Apex class. Okay, so very important. So how do you cover the private methods in your Apex code? So any class which have private method, so in order to cover that private method, we need to use @test visible before that method, so that it will be covered. So private methods we cannot able to cover using test class. Okay, అర్థమైందా? To cover the private methods, we need to use @test visible in the Apex class, not in the test class. Okay, and that is the use of test visible. Okay, what is, you will get the one question, what is the use of test visible? By using test visible annotation, we can able to cover the private methods in the Apex class. Why? Because we cannot able to write a test class or test method for private methods. So private methods are not visible in the test classes. Okay, and then fourth one, we need to use the @test setup. Okay, so by using the test setup, so you can able to insert the data one time, you can able to reuse the data in multiple test methods. So by using this we can create a test data one time and use it in multiple test methods. Okay,
హలో
yeah,
బావా అది థర్డ్ పాయింట్ ఒకసారి చెప్తారా, తెలుగులో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తారా? అదే టు కవర్ ది ప్రైవేట్ మెథడ్స్ యూజ్ ఇన్.
సో ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఏదైనా అపెక్స్ క్లాస్ రాసావు, అపెక్స్ క్లాస్ లో మామూలుగా ఏముంటాయి, ప్రైవేట్ మెథడ్స్ ఉంటాయి, పబ్లిక్ మెథడ్స్ ఉంటాయి కదా. ఓకే, సో ప్రైవేట్ మెథడ్ లో రాసిన కోడ్ ని టెస్ట్ చేయాలంటే డైరెక్ట్ గా టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో మనం కోడ్ కవర్ కదా అది. ఓకే, అర్థమైందా? సో మెయిన్ అపెక్స్ క్లాస్ లోనే ఆ ప్రైవేట్ మెథడ్ ముందు @test visible అని పెడతాం. ఓకే,
అది మనం అపెక్స్ క్లాస్ లో మెన్షన్ చేయాలా?
ఇది అపెక్స్ క్లాస్ లో మెన్షన్ చేయాలా, టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో కాదు. ఓకే, అర్థమైందా? ఎగ్జాంపుల్, సో దిస్ ఇస్ ద వన్ క్లాస్, రైట్? I will tell you that scenario. Okay,
okay.
I don't have any code right now. Let's check. Contact trigger handler. So set of IDs. Finally, what we are doing, we are calling one method. Where is the method? Do we have any private methods? See, it, for example, if I make this as a, this should be available only here. For example, private. I'm keeping the private. Okay, this is a private method. So this will be available only in this particular handler class. So to cover this method, I cannot able to cover this method in test class. So what we need to do before this, we need to use @test visible. Okay, so that you no need to write a test method for this again. Okay,
ఓకే.
అర్థమైందా? ఆటోమేటిక్గా ఇది కవర్ అవుతుంది. సో సమ్ ప్రైవేట్ మెథడ్ షుడ్ బి లైక్ దిస్. అర్థమైందా?
బావా ఇప్పుడు అక్కడ అది మెన్షన్ చేయడం వల్ల మనం రాసిన కోడ్కి అంటే ఏం ఎఫెక్ట్ ఏం అవ్వదు కదా. నార్మల్గా ఇది అక్కడ పాస్ అవడానికి టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో మనం ఇక్కడ మెన్షన్ చేస్తున్నాం ప్రైవేట్.
అవును, అంతే.
ఓన్లీ ఎఫ్ ది రేట్ టెస్ట్ విజిబుల్ అని పెట్టి మనం అక్కడ టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో ఈ మెథడ్ ని కాల్ చేయాలి.
టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ లో ఏం మెన్షన్ కూడా చేయలేదు. అర్థమైందా? యూ నో నీడ్ టు కాల్ దిస్ మెథడ్ ఇన్ ద టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ ఆల్సో. ఓకే, automatically when the class is running, for example, contact trigger handler test. Okay, that is the test class name at the time. So this method will automatically will cover. Okay, no need to write any separate test method for this private method. Okay, this will be covered as part of this annotation itself. That is the meaning of
okay baba.
My point, which I try to explain. So they will ask about these things. Okay, what are all the things that we need to consider? Interview question, that is one of the important interview question, like how do you, so here static void public static void test method also we need to write. Okay, we need to write test method also. So always it should be like, if you mention @is_test, simply you can make it as a public static void method name. Method name would be like, it should be a meaningful one. Okay, it creates account. That means it will do, this method will do, it will create a account. Okay, that is that kind of, I mean, what is that information, proper method name you need to give. Then only, I mean, this is one of the best practice of writing the Apex class in the Salesforce. Okay, so syntax would be @is_test public. So here you can mention either public or private, that is not matter. Okay, public or private class name end with test. Okay, and then each and every method should be like this: public static, you can ignore. If you want to keep public private, that is optional. @is_test static void, it creates account. Okay, so method name should be always like this. Okay, అర్థమైందా? So these are about test classes, and we need to use the @test setup. By using this, we can create a test data at one time and use it in multiple test methods. That means we will create a test data at one time within the test setup. If that data is required in any of your test methods, for example, here there will be one method. If I have multiple methods, okay, at the time, if I need same data I need to use, so I can use it from the test setup. So without again creating a new account here, okay, and doing the blah blah blah. So for example, like this, I will show it in the real time itself. Let's get it. That is the meaning of at the rate test setup. And finally, one more condition is, so you should not use CL data equal to true, okay, while implementing the test class. You should not use CL data equal to true as per Salesforce best practices. You can use it, but still it is not recommendable, okay. So when you explain about test classes, you need to tell about all these points so that interviewer might be impressed on your skills, okay. So how much depth knowledge that you have about this particular topic, you might be understand if you tell about all these points, okay. While implementing the test class, you should not use CL data equal to true as per Salesforce recommendations, okay. Salesforce best practices. And what are all missing, okay. So something, for example, for any asynchronous apex, for any asynchronous, what are all the asynchronous apex? Batch apex. So అదే వాటినే asynchronous apex అంటారు, okay. When you for any apex asynchronous apex, we need to use test dot start test and test dot stop test, okay. This is very very important interview question. So when you will use test dot start test and test dot stop test, so these statements will be used whenever if you are writing a test class for the any asynchronous apex. Asynchronous apex nothing but here it will be like batch apex, okay, kubel apex and the future method, okay. These are all the asynchronous apexes, okay. For those you need to use test dot start test, start dash stop test, okay. So what is the use of this test dot start test and stop test? It will reset the governor limits, okay. It will reset the governor limits, okay. Yeah. So and always we need to use the asset statements, okay. What is the expectation, okay, actual and expected behaviors, okay. Always we need to use the asset statements for your apex test methods, okay.
బావ వన్ డౌట్ బావ అడిగాను.
అడుగు.
ఇప్పుడు ప్రతి టాపిక్ కి గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ ఉంటాయా?
ప్రతి
కాన్సెప్ట్ కి గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ ఉంటాయా?
ప్రతి గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ అంటే ఏంది?
అదే ఇప్పుడు ఇన్ని రికార్డ్స్ మాత్రమే లిమిట్ అంతే అంతేనా?
అదేమా ఇప్పుడు
నాకు అంత ఐడియా లేదు.
గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ ఏమని చెప్పాను నేను? గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ అంటే నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఎస్ఓక్యూఎల్ క్వరీస్ 100, నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ డిఎంఎల్ స్టేట్మెంట్ 150. ఓకే, సో అలాంటి ఆపరేషన్ జరుగుతున్నప్పుడు డిఫాల్ట్ గా గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ అనేవి అప్లై అవుతాయి. సో విత్ ఇన్ దట్ లిమిట్ లోనే మనం చేయాలి. అర్థమైందా? ప్రతి టాపిక్ అంటే ప్రతి టాపిక్ కి కావు. సో ఎక్కడైతే అవసరం అవుతాయో ఆ ఏరియాలో మాత్రమే గవర్నర్ లిమిట్స్ అనేవి చెక్ చేస్తాయి. ఎక్కడ నువ్వు అపెక్స్ కోడ్ రాసినట్టు నీ అపెక్స్ కోడ్ లో ఏదన్నా ఫర్ లూప్స్ లో ఏమన్నా క్వరీస్ రాస్తున్నావా, ఫర్ లూప్స్ లో ఏమన్నా డిఎంఎల్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ చేస్తున్నావా? ఓకే, లేకపోతే నీ కోడ్ ఏమన్నా బల్క్ ఫై కాలేదా, ఇట్లాంటివి ఎన్ని కాల్అవుట్స్ చేస్తున్నావు? ఓకే, నీ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ టైం ఎంత తీసుకుంటుంది, నీ మాక్సిమం ఎంత కోడ్ రాస్తున్నావు? ఓకే, అర్థమైందా? సో ఎనీ అపెక్స్ క్లాస్ ఆర్ ఎనీ అపెక్స్ ట్రిగ్గర్, it will have up to 1 million characters. Okay, 1 million characters maximum length. Okay, maximum length of your apex class or apex trigger should be 1 million. 1 million means 10 lakhs, 10 lakhs characters. If that reaches, then your class will not save. Okay, so how much time it is taking for your transaction, whether it is a 10 seconds or 60 seconds. For synchronous it should be run within 10 seconds, otherwise you will get CPU time limit exceed. Okay, so all those things we need to consider.
Okay.
So always we need to use the assert statements for apex test methods so that it will be proper, your code should be valid. Okay, that is one of the best practices of writing an apex test classes. Okay, so these are all the points you need to make sure while writing the apex test classes. Okay, and for the integration classes we have different scenarios. There will be some mock test. Okay, once you understand these things you will be familiar with those kind of integration test classes also. Okay, yeah, so these are all about your test classes, and I will take one example. I will create a one test class. Rest of the classes that you have created till now, you need to write a test classes. Okay, so here this is one of the class, right? So what is the code coverage here? Here so here there will be a no coverage, code coverage is not there. So now what I need to do, I need to write a test class for this contact trigger handler. So let me write a test class for this. Shift go to file, go to file, click on new, create apex class. So what should be the class name? Test class name always it should end with test. Okay, contact trigger handler test. Okay, so how it should be annotated with test class? How do you identify? ఎలా ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తాం?
At the rate is
at the rate
Is test.
అది.
Is
So
test.
if you annotated with @is_test, then this is a test class. Okay. So before writing any test class, first you need to understand the functionality of your code. Okay. Actually what it does. Okay. Actually what it does. Accordingly, you need to implement your test methods. Okay. Accordingly, you need to implement your test methods. Here, what is the method? Update contact count on account. So here the scenario is I am passing trigger.new as well as trigger.old. And what is the context? If trigger.is insert or is update or is delete or is undelete. Okay. Under which context we are doing. So that is also we are passing. Those things you need to understand and do the test methods. You need to write the test methods. Until unless if you did not understand the code, okay, the code which you have written, you cannot able to write the test class. You cannot able to understand. So first you need to understand the functionality. See here what I'm doing for update contact count on account. For this method I am passing new list, old list as well as boolean variables. So what type of operation it is, whether it is a insert or update or delete or undelete. Okay. So based on this, I'm going to write a test methods. For example, each if condition you need to write a separate method. Each if condition you need to write a separate method. It should not be covered under single method. So multiple if conditions you cannot able to cover in single sorry if else. Okay, sorry, multiple, if you have multiple if else conditions, okay, at that time you need to create separate methods. Okay. So these are our only if conditions. We will try to make it as each one as per separate test method. So here public static void it creates contact. It creates a contact. So here what I'm doing, I need to mention each test method should have is test. Okay. So now what I need to do? So what I'm doing here in the trigger handler. So while creation of new contact, so I'm getting the count of account level. Okay. So now what I need to insert account as well as contact. Okay. So in this, what I'm doing here for the insert operation, insert or undelete, I'm getting the new contacts. Okay. From that new contact, if account ID not equal to null, I'm keeping in one set of IDs. So here I need account as well as contact. Okay. To get that information. So first I will create account ACC equals to new account. Okay. So ACC dot, what are the mandatory fields for account?
ID.
ID. Account creation ID mandatory.
Name.
No, no,
Last
no.
insert acc. Okay, only name matrame mandatory. Okay, so for example, if you are using some field values other than, for example, acc dot contact account dot something name, okay, something email, so those kind of values if you are checking, you need to feed the data for those fields also. Okay, అర్థమైందా? ఇక్కడ మీరు ఏమైనా ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇక్కడ కండిషను con dot account id account dot something email or contact dot email not equal to null. ఓకే, అలా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఏంటంటే ఆ రెస్పెక్టివ్ ఏ ఫీల్డ్ అయితే చెక్ చేస్తున్నారో ఆ ఫీల్డ్ కూడా డేటా మీరు పాస్ చేయాలా. ఓకేనా? సో ఇక్కడ నేను జస్ట్ అకౌంట్ ఐడి తీసుకుంటున్నాను, అకౌంట్ ఐడి నాట్ ఈక్వల్ టు నల్, సో అకౌంట్ ఇన్సర్ట్ చేశాను. దెన్ ఏం ఇన్సర్ట్ చేయాలా? కాంటాక్ట్ con ఈక్వల్స్ టు న్యూ కాంటాక్ట్ ఫాలో అవుతున్నారా? con dot what are the mandatory fields for contact? So here I am checking the account id in contact, so that I need to feed the data to this account id. Okay, here account id equal to acc dot id. ఓకే, టెస్ట్ డేటా మనం ఏదైతే టెస్ట్ అకౌంట్ ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసామో ఆ అకౌంట్ని కాంటాక్ట్ కూడా అసైన్ చేస్తున్నాము. సో con dot what is the mandatory fields in contact? Something last name. Okay, last name is the mandatory one, something like Tanusha. Okay, so here I can able to insert the contact. Okay, now I insert a contact which is linked with this Bandi Advait. Okay, insert con. So it creates a contact and update count at account level and update count at account level. Okay, so now, so what is the count at account level?
అర్థం కాలేదు బ్రో.
కౌంట్ ఎంత ఉండాలా అకౌంట్లో? ఇప్పుడు ఒక కాంటాక్ట్ ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసా, కౌంట్ ఎంత ఉండాలా అకౌంట్లో?
ఒకటి ఉండాలి.
ఒకటి ఉండాలి కదా. సో now we need to test this. Okay, now we need to pass this to the respective so here let me run this test class. So just now I run. So test class will be coming under this one. Okay. See what is the issue here. So method is not visible. Void contact trigger handler. So there is an issue with Apex class. So this class we are referring in the respective, that is the issue. So from the trigger we are calling this particular method. If you mention private method, it should not be visible to the outside of this particular Apex class. That is the meaning of this error. Okay, Advainda? So here what does it say? Method is not visible. Void contact trigger handler dot send email. Why? Because it is a private method. Okay. LSC public. So now we need to run this class. We'll see what will happen. What is the issue? So what does it say? Insert failed. Field custom validation exception. Account type should not be blank. Okay. So while filling the test data, you need to mention the data for the mandatory fields. Okay. Now we have a type. I need to insert the acc dot type equals to acc dot type. What is the type pick list values? Anyone remember? Something
Null.
null.
Sorry, sorry.
Type values. So always the values which you are providing pick list values, those should be matched with your particular pick list. Okay, otherwise it will throw an exception. Restricted pick list value, something you will get an error. Okay, so for the type field, what are the pick list values? For this type, we have prospect, customer. Okay, what I'm doing, I'm keeping type as prospect. Okay. So what happened here? It's saved. Okay, now I'm running this method test class. Okay, so now it has been passed. Okay, so now you go to respective contact handler class. Contact handler class. Here you can see what is the coverage. It has been, so is delete, is update was. Why? Because what we did, just we inserted the record, contact record. Then these green lines, I mean, what is this blue color? What is this color? These color lines will be in the apex class was covered. The lines which are in red color, those were not covered. We need to cover those scenarios also. Okay. See now what I, so in order to test this, what I need to do, I need to give assert statements. Okay. What is that? System dot assert dot r equal assert dot r equal con dot, what is that? This is the, what is the field name? Number of contacts, right? What is the expected value? 1. We'll see. So assert r equal the value which is available. This is the actual value. This is the expected value, actual value. Okay. Assert dot r equal. So now let me run this. So here itself it will say, what does it say? We'll see. So here assertion expected null actual is 1. Expected null actual is 1. So what is the cause here? Line number 15, column 1. So after insert, what we need to do? We need to query the list of account ACC list equals to select. What we need to do? ID comma ID comma where ID equal to colon ACC dot ID. So ACC list dot zero. What is the value we have? Why? Because after inserting, I'm querying the records. Okay. Let me see what is the problem here. From missed. Okay. From Control S.
From account driver.
From what is this? Account. Okay. Now we'll check the run this test class and run it. We'll see what is the issue here also. So expected to actual is 1. Okay, what is this? So we inserted only one account, right? The test. So now run it. Why? We inserted only one contact. Expected to actual 1. Let me debug this. System dot debug of SSA list. SSA list. Just we are inserting only one contact, but why it is taking 2 values? Number of contact is getting 2. So here in the logs you can open this. Click on this debug logs. Oh, this is new list. Okay. Why it is getting 2 contacts? I'm not sure what is the issue here. Okay. Do you have any trigger? Let me take. So while creation of account, is there any trigger logic to create a contact? Let me check that one.
రైట్ రాసినావు కదా బాబు అకౌంట్ క్రియేట్ అయితే అదే కాంటాక్ట్
రాసినావా?
రాస్తున్నావు.
Account, what is that? Account contact creation, right? Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. Is insert. Here also we are creating one contact while inserting the account itself. Okay. So that is the reason it is getting 2. You are understanding, right? So on the account creation, there will be a one more trigger. Okay. It is getting created one contact. The scenario which we are trying to check on contact also, it is getting created one contact through our test class. So that is the reason there are two contacts count that we are getting in the test class. For example, suppose, so let me check for this code coverage. So this was covered fully. Okay, అర్థమైందా? Same the contact trigger handler test, okay, which will be triggering on the other triggers also. So on account we have one trigger, right? After insert, create a contact, there will be one method, okay, there will be one scenario. While creating the account in the test account itself, what are all the triggers available in that account also it will fire, okay, as well as is there any dependent triggers like contact, other objects, those also will get covered. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో మనకు సింగిల్ టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ వల్ల ఈ కాంటాక్ట్ ట్రిగర్ హ్యాండ్లర్ టెస్ట్ అనేది 2 సినారియోస్ని కవర్ చేస్తుంది. అకౌంట్ కాంటాక్ట్ క్రియేషన్ని ఈ ట్రిగర్ని కవర్ చేస్తుంది, మనం క్రియేట్ చేసిన అకౌంట్ హ్యాండ్లర్ కాంటాక్ట్ ట్రిగర్ హ్యాండ్లర్ ఈ క్లాస్ని కూడా కవర్ చేస్తుంది. ఈ క్లాస్ని ఎంతవరకు చేస్తుంది? 70% ఆఫ్ కోడ్ని కవర్ చేస్తుంది. ఓకే, చెప్పింది అర్థమవుతుందా మీకు? సపోజ్ if I try to for simple execution, I will for example I'm going to deactivate this trigger. Okay, so for deactivation, just what you need to do, simply comment this code, simply comment this code, Control S. So I'm not inserting any contacts here. Okay, account contact creation apex trigger. So now we'll see whether our test class will be pass or not. So just run this. So now success, right? Now success. We'll see what is the result of, that output. So here, what is the number of contacts count? Only 1. Okay, నేను చెప్పేది మీకు అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇది రియల్ టైం సినారియో. సో ఇలా మీరు చెక్ చేసుకోవాలి ఎందుకు వస్తున్నాయి. మనం టెస్ట్ క్లాస్లో ఒకటే ఇన్సర్ట్ చేసాం, బట్ అవుట్పుట్లో మనకు 2 కౌంట్ వస్తుంది. అంటే కాంటాక్ట్స్ ఎన్ని రకాలుగా క్రియేట్ అవుతుంది, ఏ ట్రిగ్గర్స్, ఏమన్నా వేరే డిపెండెన్సీ ఉందా, అవన్నీ చెక్ చేసుకోవాలన్నమాట. అర్థమైందా? అవన్నీ చెక్ చేసుకున్నప్పుడు ఓహో ఆల్రెడీ వేరే లాజిక్ ఉంది కాంటాక్ట్ క్రియేట్ అవడానికి. సో మనం అప్పుడు నువ్వేం చేసుకోవాలి, ఇక్కడ నీ టెస్ట్ క్లాస్లో చేంజ్ చేసుకోవాలా. టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ సంథింగ్ యూ నీడ్ టు మేక్ ఇట్ యాజ్ 2 here, or you can remove this creation of contact again. Okay, then this will cover both scenarios. There are 2 options. Okay, either you can remove this contact insertion here, or you need to use here the assertion equals. Okay, so right now I'm doing only simple one thing, just one. Okay, our trigger got. So now what I need to do, I need to use it for the update also. Okay, so now what I'm doing, when contact updates, contacts contact when contact deleted and it update count at account level. When contact deleted, update when contact deleted, update count at account level. So what I'm doing here, so here I inserted, okay, and then what I'm doing, list of contact con list equals to what is this, select id from contact where id equals to con dot id, con dot id. Now what I need to do, I need to delete this con list. So delete. ఇప్పుడు కౌంట్ ఎంత ఉండాలా, నేను కాంటాక్ట్ని డిలీట్ చేస్తున్నా, అప్పుడు అకౌంట్ లెవెల్లో కౌంట్ ఎంత ఉండాలా,
0.
ఉంది.
అప్పుడు అసట్లో మనం ఏం చెక్ చేయాలా, వెదర్ ద నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ కాంటాక్ట్ అకౌంట్ లెవెల్ 0 or not, you need to verify. So now click on save. Now run this test class. Click on run. See, one method failed. We need to verify what is that method. So assertion failed. Okay, expected 1, actual 0. Expected 1, but actual is 0. What is that actual is 0? We need to identify. Why we are getting that issue? Why? Because okay, so here account id. So here which one we need to take? Here con dot account id. Okay, con dot, what you need to use, account id. Now run this test. Again it's got failed. Expected 1, actual 0. Why? Okay, so we are doing insert, right? Instead of doing insert, we need to update it. Okay, we need to update it. That is the reason the count is now inserted. Now what I'm doing, so here I'm removing the control Z. Insert, and we are doing delete. Then why it is getting the update? Can we use only should not use like this. Let me take ACC. Just now we deleted this contact list. Usually we'll check this. Why? Okay. So expected should be null. Actual is 0. Mm. So now we'll be querying this. So it should have 0, right? So always it should have always we need to put. Why? Because contact we are deleting, right? So accordingly, in the what is the expected value that we are getting in the search statement, accordingly you need to modify. So now both tests are passed. Let me check whether our code is covered or not. Okay. So this is the trigger handler. See now 83. This method is 75. This method covers 83%. Okay. For example, if I take this one, it covers the both delete as well as insert method. Okay. And then now what I'm doing, I need to create for update. Okay. So I need to take one more method. So here what I'm doing, something I'm updating the one of the value. Okay, just here email. Okay, so from this con list dot so always list, right? So we have only one record. Okay, dot email equal to test@abc.com. What I did here, just I updated update con list. So we need to change the when contact updates, when contact updates it should update count at account level. Now what is the count here? For example, now here I am taking account dot number of contacts. Okay, so here what I will take, con list of 0. Why? Because we have only one record, that's why index is 0. In the 0 level we have the records. Now I'm trying to execute this test class. See, this class, this test method also passed. So now we'll verify this trigger handler. What is the coverage? See, total all tests would be 100. This method covers 91%. This method covers 75%. This method covers 83%. If you click on all test, it will be covered the all the test data. Okay, sorry, all the code which is available under contact trigger handler. Okay, that? See, for example, now what we did here, for each and every method we inserted account, we inserted contact. So these are all the common thing, right? Again, for this method also we inserted account, contact, and then deleted. Okay, for this one also we inserted account, contact, and then updated. So this code is common, right? Account insertion, contact insertion, this code is common, right? So instead of creating a multiple times same code, we need to use one method called @test setup. @test setup. test setup. So public static void make data or prepare data. Okay, make data. Create one common test setup method. Okay, here what I'm doing, just I'm creating this data here. Okay, so now what I'm doing, just I am removing this data. Okay, and then so what is the name here? So instead of querying the ID, I'm taking where name equals to where name equals to. Why? Because this test data created with Bundy testing 1 2 3 4 5 6. With that, I am querying the account. Is there any account is existing or not? Okay. అర్థమైందా? ఈ నేమ్తో ఆల్రెడీ టెస్ట్ అకౌంట్ క్రియేట్ అయిపోయింది. సేమ్ నేమ్తో నేను లిస్ట్ ఆఫ్ అకౌంట్స్ని క్వరీ చేసుకొని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ కాంటాక్ట్ సైజ్ ఎంతో వెరిఫై చేస్తున్నా. ఓకే, సేమ్ అదే మాదిరిగా ఇక్కడ ఈ కోడ్ కూడా నాకు అవసరం లేదు. ఈ కోడ్ కూడా అవసరం లేదు. జస్ట్ నేనేం చేస్తాను ఇక్కడ కాన్ లిస్ట్ కాన్ డాట్ ఐడి. వాట్ ఈస్ ద కాంటాక్ట్ సంథింగ్ లాస్ట్ నేమ్. Instead of ID, what I'm taking last name equals to Anusha. Okay, and then and also you need to query, just you need to query the account ACC equal to select ID comma what is this number of contacts from account where from account where limit limit 1 because this is a single account. What is the issue here? Let me check. For this one also, this is not required. What I'm doing, what is the name? Tanusha. unexpected token where it is line number 27. From account where 2 times I used okay, where name equals to this one 21 fine, and then
Last
what is the
one.
account ID from count where last name Tanusha, error, no such column, LA ST, last name right, 29. What is the other issue? Another issue also like LA ST, last name. Okay, now run this test. So if you go to the test, there will be one method fade to or past. What is that? Expected one, actual is null. It deletes. What is the line number? 32. You need to go there. So here order of execution is very important. Okay, so control X. So once we deleted, then we need to query the respective accounts. So now run this test method. Still why it is failing? Expected one, actual is null. So account like what is the issue? I created a contact, so then I deleted. Oh, let me check the what is this. So we created only one contact, right? We created only one contact, but why it is coming? Okay, so I will tell you about this one later. Okay, why it is failing? Actually, contacts are 0. It is getting 1. Don't know why. So is there any other way that we are creating contacts? That is one point we need to check. Okay, అర్థమైందా? సో రైట్ నౌ ఐఎమ్ కీపింగ్ just one, it will pass. So all three are passed now. So that may be, I mean, while creation of account, there is a there might be other way we are creating contact. So are we creating through flow? Any idea? While deletion. Not sure. I need to check that. Okay. I will tell you about why it is getting an issue. So if you check here in the contact trigger handler, you can see all these have been 100% coverage. Okay. సో అర్థమైందా? ఇక్కడ మనకి ఏమైంది, కోడ్ అనేది లివరేజ్ అయింది. అంటే బై యూజింగ్ సింగిల్ వన్ కామన్ టెస్ట్ సెటప్ మెథడ్. సో దిస్ మెథడ్ డేటా వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ విత్ ఇన్ ద మల్టిపుల్ టెస్ట్ మెథడ్స్. ఓకే, ది సేమ్ డేటా వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ ఇట్ at multiple test method level. Okay, so that is the use of keeping the test setup. Okay, so same thing you need to write it for other triggers. Okay, so the triggers which you created as part of your assignment, you can write a test class for those scenarios. And same thing, same likewise you need to do for batch apex also. Okay, for the batch apex you need to use class name to pass the data. So for that scenario, just try from your side. Okay, if you have any doubts, then where you struck, from there onwards I will tell you about this batch apex related test classes. అర్థమైందా మీకు? హలో
హలో.
సో ఇప్పుడు చెప్పిన ఈ టెస్ట్ క్లాస్ అర్థమైందా? సో మీరు సీక్వెన్స్ అర్థం చేసుకుంటేనే వన్ బై వన్ నేను ఎలా డీబగ్ చేశాను, ఎలా టెస్ట్ డేటాను ఫిక్స్ చేశాను, సేమ్ అదే మాదిరిగా మీరు రియల్ టైంలో చేయాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఓకేనా? అర్థమైందా? మీరు ట్రిగర్స్ మీద వీటి మీద ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి, ఈ టెస్ట్ డేటా క్రియేట్ చేయండి. సేమ్ సైమల్టేనియస్గా జస్ట్ ఏమేమి డేటా మీకు అవసరం అవుతుంది బ్యాచ్ అపెక్స్కి, ఓకే, ఆ డేటాని క్రియేట్ చేసి పెట్టండి. Try to complete that one also. If you could not able to do that, I will explain that on tomorrow's class, and then I will proceed on further topic. Okay, so tomorrow I will explain about test class for batch apex, and then I will proceed for other topic. Until now you can complete the test classes for the triggers which you created as well as batch apex. Okay, try to do it for the batch apex also. If you could not able to do that, I will explain tomorrow. Okay,
సరే.
సో అసెట్లో డిఫరెంట్ స్టేట్మెంట్స్ ఉన్నాయి, అవి కూడా మీరు ఒకసారి చదవాలా. ఓకేనా? నేను సింగిల్ స్టేట్మెంట్ తీసుకున్నాను. వీ హ్యావ్ మల్టిపుల్ అసెట్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఈక్వల్ టు, ఓకే, ఆర్ ఈక్వల్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఈక్వల్, okay, is empty, something. We have the different methods within under asset class. This is one of the class. Under this class we have different methods: r equal to, r not equal to, r null, is null, is not null, is true. Okay, there are different methods. You need to verify those also. Okay na? సో ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా? సో మీరు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయండి. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ వస్తే గ్రూప్లో పోస్ట్ చేయండి, చెప్తాను. ఓకే
ఓకే.
సరే అయితే, ఇఫ్ యూ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ఎనీ డౌట్స్ యూ కెన్ వైండ్ అప్ దిస్ కాల్. థ్యాంక్ యూ టీమ్.